The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources has temporarily suspended the ban on the sale of imported fish in markets. The House of Representatives is hoping to pass the bill creating a sovereign wealth fund as early as mid-December. But minority lawmakers and even Senator Amy Marcos have called for patience in tackling the measure. And ready your New Year outfits, Viva Magenta is Pantone's color of 2023. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, has temporarily postponed its ban on the sale of imported salmon and pompano in markets. The BFAR said it took into consideration the recommendations of fisheries stakeholders and some lawmakers. Recall that the BFAR was supposed to confiscate imported fish being sold in markets starting December 4. This is part of the agency's implementation of Fisheries Administrative Order 195, which allows the sale of imported fish only for industrial users like hotels, restaurants, and canneries. And here's some breaking news from Malacanang. The Office of the Press Secretary says that Presidential Management Staff Secretary Zenaida Angping has asked to take some time off for personal reasons. It is not clear whether she is taking a leave of absence or is stepping down from her post. The Office of the Press Secretary says the President has agreed to Angping's request to take some time off. And some farmers in Camarines Norte have resorted to panning for gold with the prices of fertilizer and seeds on the rise. Shaila Francisco with the story.
55-year-old Dennis, a farmer, starts his day in Paracale, Camarines Norte as early as 6 a.m. After a quick breakfast, he walks to the farmland to prepare for farming. But as it turns out, he is harvesting something else other than palay. Gold.
Imbis na palay muna yung anihin, ginto muna ang inaani namin. Para kami makaraos. Kisa naman sa tulad, wala pang binhi. Mahal pa. Tapos wala kaming gawa, di lalo kaming tingga.
Locals call this labadero or gold panning, a process in which gold is extracted manually. It is considered one of the simplest ways to mine gold. This is traditionally done in Paracale since the town is known for having gold deposits. Farmers receive their salaries daily for this.
Kikita kaya tayo ng malaki-laki naman ngayon. Araw kaya tayo dito ng 350, 400.
But there is no telling how much they would receive.
Instead of carabaos and tractors here, they rely on themselves the whole day just to get even a pinch of gold. But just how hard is it compared to farming? Come on, let's find out.
They first dig the land up to get soil that possibly has gold deposits. These lands are then soaked in water to loosen the sand and separate it from stones. After that, it will be sifted before dusting through what they call a pabirik to extract the gold.
Kasi ba yung ginagawa nyo kumpara dun sa ibang mga pagmimina at pagbubuka?
Kasi po, bukod sa mababaw, wala naman kaming ginagamit na chemical.
Eh paano ito? Magagamit pa ba yung lupa?
Ay, ito pong ano namin, yung halimbawa yung buhangin, at binabalik din po namin sa...
After the whole process, they will then cook it. After this, they will bring it to the buyer to weigh the gold.
Medyo malaki ngayon, ng kaunti.
After a whole day's work, they made 3,840 pesos, which will be divided among themselves. Dennis got 548 pesos. It's bigger compared to previous days. But he says it is still not enough, especially for those with kids going to school. But do they prefer gold panning over farming?
Ay, nambiron po ang magsaka. Ay, una-una nakakapagpahinga nga po kami pag may palay na.
Dito, sige, pakikwento lang po. Bakit po?
Tatapatin ko lang kayo, ma'am.
Opo.
Hindi po ako nakapag-aaral.
Hindi po kayo nakapag? Opo.
Kahit po pangalan ko, hirap ko isulat. Tanong po kayo sa mga tao dito. Kaya ako'y ganito lang, magsasaka lang talaga.
Dennis says he usually earns double in farming. But with the high cost of fertilizers and seeds nowadays, he says having some extra income from gold panning is useful. That's why farmers like him are asking for additional aid from the government. Paracales Municipal Agriculture Office says they will be distributing seeds. However, they admit that they have a limited budget for this. They permit gold panning, but reminds farmers not to use chemicals.
Basta siguraduhin lang po na maibalik sa dating forma yung sakahan para nang sa ganun pakinabangan ng mahabang panahon.
For their part, farmers in Paracale assured that they will not do anything to harm farmlands. But they are hoping that like the gold they're panning, their livelihood as farmers will also shine in the future. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
One News Now will be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Agriculture Department is studying the importation of onions in order to stabilize market prices. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Christine Evangelista said there are some 13,000 metric tons of onions in the country's inventory. 5,000 metric tons is also expected this month from local harvest. Ideally, this would be enough to cover the 17,000 metric ton demand. But Evangelista said that they have to take into account changes in consumer preference.
We look sufficient. However, we are also looking into na alam naman po natin yung mga consumers natin at institutional buyers na dati po white onion ang ginagamit, nag-shift sa red onion. So pwede pong affected ngayon ang data pagdating po dun sa demand. So that is something that is also being looked into po ng Bureau of Plant Industry to see the real supply and sufficiency situation pagdating po sa onions.
The House of Representatives is looking to approve the bill creating the Maharlika Investment Fund before it goes on Christmas break. Marian Enriquez with the report.
Vice Chairperson Jaresco Teodorico Jr.
Barely a week after the Sovereign Wealth Fund bill was filed, the House of Representatives already has a target date for its plenary approval. Congressman Joey Salceda said it may be passed as early as December 12.
Papas po to sa Lunes sa Committee on Ways and Means, pero dahil ako halos ang nag-chair po ng PWG, naipasok na namin po. Ang sunod po dyan yung Committee on Appropriations, basically. Then, sa floor now.
Under the so-called Maharlika Investment Fund, funds from government financial institutions will be pulled in for investments with the goal of growing government savings. But House minority leaders have criticized the railroading of the measure.
Paduda-duda yung pagraratsada nitong Maharlika Investment Funds. Diba, ang hinihiling nga ng ating mga mamamayan ngayon ay ayuda, dagdag na sweldo.
I think we'd be doing a disservice by fast-tracking this bill because pinag-uusapan dito at least 250 billion pesos. Ang laking pera.
Even the president's sister, Senator Amy Marcos, has some concerns. She cited Malaysia's sovereign fund which had been exposed to corruption.
Ang nangyari sa kanilang 1 MDB na nakurakot na yung pera, nakakatakot talaga ito. Kaya pag-isipan natin maigi kung ito ba ay talagang tamang panahon.
Senate President Mig Zubiri assured the public that it will be studied thoroughly. Zubiri said the need for such funding must be established first, after which measures should be put in place to ensure that the fund will be managed properly. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
And here's a quick look at today's other top stories. Actor-politician Roderick Paulate has been sentenced up to 62 years in prison after being found guilty on 1 count of graft and 9 counts of falsification of documents. This is in relation to his hiring of ghost employees back in 2010. The Health Department sees a significant decline in the use of RT-PCR testing as a result of updated protocols. The DOH said from 90,000 RT-PCR tests conducted per day in January, the number of samples collected has significantly dwindled to 11,000 in November. And the Pantone Color Institute has announced the color of the year for 2023, Viva Magenta. Pantone describes the color as an unconventional shade for an unconventional time. And for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.